Hello and welcome to this Portal Exceptional Student Experience webinar, first in a series of 3, entitled How to Increase Student Recruitment by Improving Conversion Rates from Enquiry to Enrollment. Today we're going to focus on the challenge in student recruitment for both FE and HE, best-in-class solutions from other sectors, and the results that we're bringing to UK education institutes right now. We're delighted to welcome more than 250 registrants of education leaders from across the UK to this webinar. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. There's a fast-paced live project that we're going to be running for the next 45 minutes. And I want to take you through the 3 main objectives that we have planned. Firstly, we're going to challenge you to evaluate the way in which you attract students. Secondly, we're going to share best-in-class practice, mainly from the retail sector. And thirdly, we're going to empower you to take this content back to base with your teams to transform your own institutions for the better. So, in kicking us off and walking through our agenda, I'm Kaelan Hargrave, Head of Education at Portal, and I'm delighted to be hosting this webinar and be joined by 2 education pioneering leaders from across the UK, and indeed friends. Neil Marriott, who is the Deputy Vice-Chancellor at University of Winchester, and Di Roberts, Principal and CEO of Brockenhurst College, as well as Deputy Chair of the Association of Colleges. This fast-paced live webinar is here to be engaging and a forum for you. So please make sure that you're putting your questions in the chat panel to the right-hand side on your GoToWebinar session, and we'll ensure we're weaving them into conversation throughout, and we're addressing them at the Q&A at the end. One question I always get asked when we do these webinars is, will this be recorded? And I can promise you it will, and we'll share that with you in the next couple of days. So, to the agenda, we are going to kick off with setting the scene and really providing rich context around the student recruitment challenge and the conversion challenge specifically. I'm going to do that together with Neil, who's going to give you the industry's perspective from a DVC. Then I'm going to take you through 2 best-in-class solutions that we're seeing from the retail sector that are now moving into the education space. The first being prospect personalization, and I'm going to show you through one prospect's eyes how they experience this, show you behind the curtain on the solution overview, and give you a live demonstration right here from Brockenhurst College campus of their working environment. Second, I'm going to take you through the next best practice technology, which is push communications. Again, showing you through one prospect's eyes how they experience this, and behind the curtain on how the solution works. Di Roberts is then going to take you through the Brockenhurst College story on the need that they saw to transform the way in which they attract learners, the solution they have on the ground, and critically, the benefits they're expecting to see from it now and in the future. I'll quickly summarize with your next steps, and your questions will be answered right at the end. So let's get started. Firstly, if we think about the challenge across UK education and the recruitment, we're really hearing from leaders on the ground that there's a perfect storm massing across FE and HE. Firstly, increasing competition. We've got new entrants to both FE and HE across the UK and indeed across the water, given the world is becoming a smaller and flatter place. For further education colleges, we have schools that are locking the doors to retain their own now that the compulsory education age has risen, really restricting traditional marketing techniques. And for higher education, further education colleges are encroaching into provision of degree courses that are sometimes more cost effective and more flexible depending on the curriculum. But competition is absolutely rife. Twinned with that, the learning demographic, the I generation that are swimming through our institutions have far higher expectations than they ever have before. It was recently published that over 70% of schools in the UK actually deliver tablet education in the classroom. And those learners are then coming into our colleges and our universities with very high expectations of the best campus experience. But twinned with that, of course, they're looking for richer outcomes. Attainment of a qualification is no longer enough. It's about rich destinations, careers, and continuing education. And of course, the triple threat here is the falling demographic. The Office of National Statistics tells us that the prospect age range is going to set to fall by 13% by 2021. Although that's going to impact more geographical areas than most, it's still going to impact us all in that we have to work smarter to get a larger slice of a shrinking pie. So setting that context in terms of the perfect storm, how do we increase student recruitment in these kind of challenging circumstances? What we're hearing on the ground is that it's really coming from two aspects: digital marketing and campus marketing. The manual marketing of old, prospects, a prospectus delivery, mail shots, and other forms of telephone helplines are really moving to the back. And these are the two primary methods of student recruitment: digital marketing being across web presence, social media, etc., and campus marketing really being that sealing the deal moment in which we have open days, taste days, campus activity. So let's look at these in turn, and digital marketing first. Now, we already know you're going to be doing something around digital marketing. You'll be on some stage of the journey. No doubt you'll have Google Analytics, which is a tremendous free tool. And I know that almost 100% of UK education institutes have this. You may be doing some form of email communications, very popular now. So you'll have a form of social media presence. You may be doing retargeting banner ads, although we see more of that in higher education than we do in further education. And across mobile apps, particularly for prospectuses, we're seeing that less than 15% of universities have that, and zero colleges that we've come across so far. Now, the real methodology behind this is a batch and blast type methodology. We are just batching prospects together and then blasting them with a one-size-fits-all message across these different tool sets. But let's think about your favorite online retail experience, that area that shows you what you could be doing. Firstly, looking at prospect digital analytics, not just the sample Google group information analytics that you're going to get that shows you someone came to your website today, but doesn't really tell you much more. Now we're going to drill right down to the individual to give them a better experience. Mass personalization is rife, particularly across platforms like Amazon, for instance, where you're getting an integrated, consistent, and personalized experience as you move through their web presence. You're getting real-time dynamic content as it lifts you up out of the noise and shows you what you're most interested in, as opposed to what you may have come for. And it's going to be consistent across channel, whether it's different devices, whether it's different medias. And another aspect that retail have done fantastically well at is campaign automation, raising up the limited marketing headcount that we have and being able to empower them to focus on strategic marketing, not just campaign execution. So this is really around a different type of mindset in which we're identifying and targeting individuals. Now, thinking about campus marketing, so those on-campus activities, again, you're going to be doing something, but typically it's a one-size-fits-all event. It's very reactive engagement. You're really requiring the prospect themselves, together with their parents, anyone else they might have brought, to engage with you as opposed to you engaging out to them. There'll be blanket social media, very limited data capture. There's many colleges and unis we go to who don't even know who attended that day at a very limited amount. And of course, it's a very physical experience. We're expecting learners to sit quietly and listen to us as we deliver content on stage. And we're expecting them to walk around campus and see things. But it's not a digital experience. It's very much a spray and pray approach. We are just spraying it out there and praying it's going to have an impact on that prospect, but we're not really understanding whether it has or measuring the impact. Again, taking lessons from an in-store retail experience, we could be doing so much more in having more personalization to make sure there's an individual experience in which we have personalized agendas for the individual that's based on what we know they're interested in. Then we're going to have proactive engagement. So we're reaching out to those that need it most ahead of time. We're going to have rich social sentiment analysis, really understanding the reviews that our prospects are giving us on the ground. And from that, together with other things, we're getting detailed data to really understand and prioritize how we reach out in future. And of course, offer an immersive experience by inviting technology, tablets, mobiles into the campus experience. Again, an identify and target approach. So it's our view that the best way to increase student recruitment with these kind of lessons from industry is to personalize and deepen engagement with students. And that's really the key here. Okay, so I'm going to pass over to Neil.
Hello, my name is Neil Marriott, and I'm the Deputy Vice-Chancellor here at the University of Winchester. Winchester has been a very successful university since 2011. In fact, we're the 8th fastest growing university in the UK, increasing our student numbers by 28% over this period. I'm pleased to say that I'm in charge of student recruitment here at the university, and I guess we must be doing something right. So I'm going to share with you some of the secrets of the university, and hopefully you don't compete with me too directly. Right now, what we're finding is that our students are a lot more discerning, a lot more demanding. We find that they take a lot of advice from family, friends, when they make the decision. And that's very interesting for us because it represents a dichotomy between who the consumer is, our students, and who the purchasers are and who influences that purchase. Because of the increase in fees, we've seen an increase in demand for information and dialogue with the university. And we've had to use a range of media tools that we've not really utilised in the past, especially online marketing, social network channels such as Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. And we've used less traditional advertising techniques such as billboards or bus and train advertising. However, it's not just a digital experience. It's very important what happens at open days. Open days are really a try before you buy opportunity. And what we find is that the students come to open day with an entourage of advisors, family, friends, parents, grandparents, older, younger siblings. And it's a very important experience in closing the sale for the student. This, to me, is the key to the conversion strategy in taking your students from inquiry to actual going firm with your institution. And of course, this is becoming ever more difficult. We're seeing increased competition. There are now more public universities, more private providers, and more international competition, especially EU providers now available on UCAS. We also get competition for some market segments from further education that provide HE. We're now in an unregulated market. There's no cap on student numbers. This was a surprise announcement that came a year last December that led a lot of universities to have headaches over the Christmas period. And to add to this, there's a triple threat in that there's a demographic downturn of 18 to 20-year-olds, dropping by 13% over the next 5 years. At Winchester, we've responded to the needs of the market, not just to the needs of the student, but to the people who are advising them in purchasing. We do a lot of parental engagement. We have a Parents Press newsletter, for example, that parents can sign up for. And we offer very flexible modes of delivery, responding to modern lifestyles, not just blended learning and the use of virtual learning environments, but sympathetic timetabling models that permit part-time working for our students, which most of them do. And we've invested in wider facilities to provide a better experience. We focus on the social side of university life, things like gym equipment. We've got £1 million gym, state-of-the-art gym. We provide a 24/7 library. We've invested in infrastructure such as Wi-Fi, lap-safe cabinets, mobile apps, lecture capture. It's very much a digital connected world that we're trying to join and be part of. The biggest hurdle that we've faced, I think, has been the culture shift that's been needed in student recruitment, both in academic and professional service staff. The student as a customer is not a popular concept in HE. We prefer to use the gym membership model. This is much better received, whereby the idea is that the more you come to the gym, the more you engage with the university, the better you learn, the fitter you get. For student recruitment, it means a lot more keeping warm activity. It's no longer good enough just to visit a UCAS fair and distribute prospectuses. You have to follow up. You need a lot more touch points. And it's a very uncertain world, and we've had to be much more agile as an organisation and invest in a lot more back office systems to respond to these market challenges. If I had one secret as to how to increase student recruitment by improving conversion rates from inquiry to enrolment, it would be the personal touch. Learners today want to be seen as individuals, and therefore you have to engage with them on first name terms. If you can't do this, then you're not really offering the service that they expect of HE in the 21st century. Back to you, Caitlin.
Thank you so much, Neil. I really appreciate you providing a really rich context from an industry leadership perspective. Okay, so moving across in our agenda, that's really hopefully setting the scene from you in the student recruitment challenge that we're seeing on the ground, and indeed from a university leader himself. Now let's move into this best practice and really continue this forum on how can we take these kind of lessons from retail who apply to the same demographic and bring it right into education. So going back to this thought on how do we increase student recruitment with richer personalization and engagement, let me take these in turn again to show you those two areas of best practice. I'll focus on digital marketing first. And again, this is around prospect personalization. So taking cloud service digital analytics that capture insight website around the individual, not just group Google Analytics information, and then allow the automation and delivery of personalized content to ensure there's an individual and unique pathway for every, not only learner, parent, employer, alumni, or anyone else that's touching your web presence. Now let's look at this through the eyes of one individual so we can really make this real. So take Jane Smith here, who might be an undergraduate 18-year-old. She's a digital native. She's got anything between 4 and 6 devices, as most do in the UK now. She's looking to be a scientific researcher, and she's completely obsessed with basketball. There's the background that we know about Jane, but of course she hasn't touched the institution yet. Let's go on a 3-step journey that's really going to demonstrate how prospect personalization works by taking that retail message and bringing it to education. So of course, for so many learners like Jane, they're going to come right to your website and they're going to pick up the latest device to do so. Now, of course, they're going to get a one-size-fits-all content that's taking as much curriculum courses and content and smushing it into a tiny screen such that everyone gets the same. But Jane's going to go on a journey. She's going to look at the basketball team and on-campus accommodation. She's going to look at biology and business courses, and she's going to go on some form of journey. But eventually, she's going to leave the website. And with that, we can place a cookie on her device in order to capture that insight of her as an individual. Once she's left the website, we're then able to reach back out to her with a retargeted banner ad, which you see here, which is giving her specific and individual content. Here, business and economics courses. It might hold the Delhi score for that particular course, something that we know is interesting to her. So when she comes back through the recruitment process to the website, we're then personalizing this entire space for her. We're now talking about business and biology courses, the basketball team, undergraduate campus activity. And we've even personalized Twitter and videos to make sure that there's an individual experience, which she can still navigate to everything, but we're lifting her up out of the noise and giving her the best offer. With that, she decides to give us her email address to sign up to the latest videos as they come through in real time. So we add that to the content we hold on Jane. Moving on in the story, we're then able to send her a personalized email with a unique URL, which she opens up from a different device. So we're now able to, when she comes back to the website, clock her iPhone. So we're giving her a consistent experience across the many devices that she might have. She might then choose to share this on Facebook in the icon in the top right-hand corner. And therefore, we can connect with her Facebook credentials and, again, pull basic information if we should need to. In the middle here, we can see that she's writing something about our institution, and she's sending that up on her wall. Now, we can be so detailed in really personalized analytics that we can understand that her social advocacy may well have brought 8 more people to the website to begin their own individual story with us and their own personalized route. Now, what's so important about that is we can track all of this marketing back to that single banner ad that we sent to re-engage her as an individual. Now we're allowing our prospects to be advocates of our brand. When she comes to a physical open day, she might be tweeting about us, so we're able to clock her Twitter address. And we know when she came to an open day by importing manual data, and of course when her application was received. So you can see here that we're giving Jane a very personalized experience and a more seamless one as she moves through her journey, but we're collecting a lot more information that allows us to be far more analytical. So thinking about that in detail and looking behind the curtain, here, what comes under that prospect personalization to make that work? Firstly, live profile, analytics, and execution. And I'll go through these in turn. So live profile is lifetime individual visitor experience. So from the first time we've touched in a widening participation front, right the way through to employment and alumni, we're able to create this data hub, which is taking in a huge mass amount of different pieces of information about the individual, about their experience, about marketing, about imported data. So everything gives a 360-degree view of that individual. Now, with that mass amount of data, we need an analytics hub that's going to give us that insight and report and dashboard for us to make better, smarter decisions. So we're able to streamline the journey by understanding the blockages and the milestones and where we're losing people in the funnel. We can understand the demand from learners and employers by listening to what they're saying to our own face and modifying our curriculum accordingly. We're able to acutely measure the clear return on investment of every marketing penny spent, particularly in these budget-strained times. And we're able to automate campaign execution. And I'll show you a little bit more in the live demo. But with that insight, we then want to act upon it. So here we're providing precision marketing tools in an action hub that connects with everything that you currently have in how you deliver marketing and really amplifies that capability. So we're able to give that dynamic website that is constantly offering intelligently the best content to the best individuals. We're integrating with your email provider and your retargeting providers so we can deliver content directly from that single interface, and even manual marketing by exporting data to run campus events, etc. So they're the three aspects of how prospect personalization really works. But in order to flesh that out even more, I'm going to walk you through the live demonstration of Brockenhurst College's environment. So if you can see that on screen, I'll log in to a live environment and show you their data as we move through. Brockenhurst College have been using this system for about 6 weeks. So the data is coming through and we're enabling them to really do much more analysis and execution off the back. So all of this data on the right-hand side is the content that comes out of the box with this solution. And again, this is the same system that Amazon used to personalize their experience that we're now applying to education. If I open a workbook here, which is an individual dashboard I've designed for this with a range of different reports and insights, here on the front face, I can see the key performance indicators. So how are people moving through our website? What's the bounce rate? What's the average session length? So we can get some instant and individual experience of how individuals are moving in real time. Again, this isn't Google Analytics group information that's sample that tells you one person came to a website today and it didn't break. This is very specific data around the individual. Looking at the heat map, this is one of my real favorites. We're able to drill into this in more detail and really understand when are people coming to our website and how is it performing across different devices, different resolutions. And we can see here across the 4-week average. But if we look across the 12-week average of this, there's a really clear standout from the over 62,000 hits that Brockenhurst have had in this time, which is specifically that Tuesday mornings get nearly 4 times more visitors than any other point in the day, specifically between 7 and 8 a.m. So while those students are still in bed, they're engaging with our content. Now, with this kind of analysis, Brock are empowering themselves to deliver email content at 8 a.m. because we know that's when they're engaged with us. We're setting up a helpline to make sure we can guide people through at that critical point. So we're adapting our way of presenting ourselves to them individually. If I look at top-line metrics, again, we want to understand richer detail on how people are moving through our website. Where are we getting our applications? Are there particular highs and lows? And all of this stuff we're able to drill into. If I take February 10th through February 15th, just 5 days, but we're going from a 3-minute, 12-second average session length to much higher. Now, why is that? If we look at the exit pages for that, where are people leaking and leaving our website? And again, if we look at and adapt this dashboard that's very intuitive to use, I can look at a quick pie chart of that over time and see that actually a significant amount of people are leaving directly from the homepage. We've got a lot of people that are going to the portal, so student and staff portals directly from the website. What more can we do to make that content even more engaging? And Brockenhurst have put in a phenomenal brand new website that's got a delicious search bar right in the middle at the top to make things far more easily accessible. But what are learners looking at? Again, if we look over the last month, for instance, and we want to understand what are the top courses, what are the top products that we're actually selling? Here we can see that photography, art, music, English are really at the top priority here. And one thing that Brockenhurst have already implemented is when you searched for English on their website, it came back with over 300 different search results. Now we've prioritized that to make that system even smoother. If I take a look at another piece of the pie, digital analytics provides understanding around the visitor behavior. But Explore answers the ad hoc questions. So if we know that our admissions are down, for instance, for engineering, particularly with females, we can ask questions of the system. Show me how many 16-year-old females in this geography have come to our website for more than 90 seconds, looked at engineering content, half filled in an application form, and then ditched it. Show me those people, and then we can target them. So let's look at a little bit of that. And I won't drill right the way through down to the information to protect Brockenhurst and the individuals that are going through that process. But I will show you the high level. So if I look here at the last month that we have, overall, there's 825 applications here. And more importantly, what Brock are fantastic at is we've got 100% of these have been completed. There's no basket abandonment rates. But if we look at inquiries about the course, again, there should have been 452, but we've lost nearly 50% of these. Now, I want to make sure that we can click into this. We can find those people that haven't engaged. And more accurately, we're able to then click this button over here and target that specific group of people who came to the website, half filled an inquiry form, but then left. And we can send them a display ad or an email. And again, within about 16 more seconds, we're able to attach the content we want to send to this group and send it out. So it's really given us that rich integration. Looking at opportunities, this is the last one I'll show you, but it's one of my favorites. One, people have searched in that search box, what are the things they're searching for that return 0 results? So here we can see there's a little bit of accessibility, and we've got some misspellings, potentially dyslexia, but we want to make sure those people are still getting to the courses that they were looking for, like mathematics, and make sure they're still going to get to the right course. But more importantly, what we're empowering senior leaders with is what are the demand for these courses? You know, coding, TESOL courses, AAT are being searched for. The demand is there. How could we relabel and reintroduce new courses to help empower that? And the last thing I'll show you in this live demonstration is this just here. This is the live Brockenhurst College environment as you'll see it right now. If you go right to their website, this is what you're going to see. And if I click this little plugin that we have on the side that shows us the live view of how people are moving through this website right now. If I just look back at the last fiscal week, so that would have been week beginning the 23rd of February. I'll just take a really quick look at that to see how do people move through our website at that time. Here, we can see that there's around 6,100 visitors during this week. And if I turn us on, we can see where on the website they were clicking, a heat map, so to speak, of where our website was really having impact. Now, a lot of people, as we can see, have gone to portals. So they've been students or staff members that have moved off. Lots of navigation immediately. But let's look at this emergency first aid piece. It's got prime real estate, but out of the 6,100 visitors, only 7 clicked on this content. So it's telling us really quickly we can change that and put more interactive content there if we should so choose. As we move further down, we're allowing people to select who they are and again capturing that information. But as we scroll down this fantastic website for mobile devices, there's less and less engagement as we move through. So we want to make sure priority is at the top. Now, we had another 24% cut off the skills adult budget last week. So that's really becoming a critical area for Brockenhurst and many other colleges. We can see over here that last week, 68 people looked at this particular area. But what did they then do? If I click into that and then again reactivate our analytics to layer over the top, we can see that there's a range of navigation. So people have come to this page and then immediately moved somewhere else. So maybe that they didn't feel they were getting the content they were looking for. So we can try and rationalize that and make it even more empowering. Again, 3% of people clicked the link again because they didn't feel they got what they thought they were going to. We can see the popularity of courses here. They're in alphabetical order. As we move further down, there's less and less content that's being clicked on. And one thing I think is really powerful is that the prospectus for adult skills training has huge impact if people read it. But only 2 out of the 68 people actually downloaded this. Now, what if we could then retarget the 66 who didn't and then reach back out to them? That's the power of the kind of analytics that Brockenhurst College now have in their environment. And I hope you can see that's a far more rich retail experience to get real-time insight and change the way in which we attract students on the ground. Okay, looking at the next campus experience piece of best practice. So whereas we had prospect personalization for digital marketing, now thinking about campus marketing, we want to create push communications. If you think about your in-store experience at a grocery store, for instance, this is technology that is emerging. It's really being introduced now only in the last 6 months, but Portal are already ahead of the game in being the pioneers to bring this to the education space in the UK. Let me show you in a bit more detail what it really is. Think about digital and physical marketing. We're given some in both ways. But what if we could really synergize those together to give proximity-based marketing, push communications to a digital device when a prospect's in a particular physical zone? Again, let me make that real for you. And if we go back to our prospect Jane and a 3-step journey, we look at and we make sure that we're giving Jane access to the app, whether we're emailing her or promoting it on the website. She can download the app from any platform available on any mobile device. Here we've got an individual theme. So it's themed around Hollywood cinema, but this is really interchangeable to engage on this basis. And again, remember, so few universities and almost no colleges have an open day app. Here, we're inviting the prospect we're telling them more about the event itself. It's going to be a fantastic event, and we're incentivizing them to register in advance by offering them tickets for her and her friends to go to the cinema. When she moves through her registration, we're able to authenticate directly with her Facebook and Twitter credentials, given that that's how iGeneration tell us they want to do it. And we're going to give her some free fresh popcorn on campus for doing so. We then want to find out what interests her and empower her to select the particular courses or modules or areas and facilities on campus that she really wants to see to give her a personalized experience. And when she's done that, we're incentivizing her again to promote this across her digital channels, to again have her as an advocate of the brand to bring more of her friendship network with her. We then give her complete a registration and give her this ticket so she can show this on entry to get her free fresh popcorn. But we're keeping this engagement with a countdown of days, and she can deregister if she chooses to. Now, all of this rich data in advance allows us to do a really effective facilities and resource planning on the day. And even when she's not in the app, we get something that you don't currently have, or many don't, which is the ability to send her push communications. She's got some navigations on the screen here, so we can push her to look at a campus map or plan her journey. So when she's outside of the app, we can still make sure she's going to get an instant message like this one that helps promote her attendance to make sure she does actually show up. When she actually makes it to campus and we open up the doors, we're providing a full interactive event. So there's a red carpet, there's selfie sticks and huge props. So there's a selfie stand to make really engaging, the free fresh popcorn machines there. So we're making it a destination event. And Portal will work with a group of current students on the ground to design this and put budget to create it, to make sure it's really going to be interactive and attuned to the prospect of today. Once she arrives on the red carpet, we are going to understand that she's physically in that zone and push her digital passport. So on her device, it's going to ring and it's going to give her this particular environment that gives her a personal guided tour as she moves through different facilities and indeed different curriculum areas. For instance, when she hits the psychology building, she walks inside and she gets pushed this digital content that's an introduction of the head of psychology. Hey, come and meet me. Here's some more information on what's really important to us, and some progression scores here too, as well as linking out to her prospectus. So she's going to be given that digital content. And even when she leaves, we're still going to be able to contact her with this push communication to get her to convert and complete her application. So throughout, we're given a much more engaging experience as she moves through her open day. Now, again, looking behind the curtain on how we achieve this, it's really achieved through three aspects. Firstly, beacon technology, which are about 5 centimeters in size. They're a small wireless Bluetooth emission device that's sending tiny radio signals that are picked up by mobile devices. We are providing a mobile app to make sure that we've got an interactive space that learners can engage with, not just your mobile website. But then for open days, tater days, and campus tours, we're given this interactive experience. And as the mobile moves between different physical locations, it's picking up the beacon's push communication. And lastly, it's a destination event. We're giving a live project to students and providing an event management with props to make sure this is a real destination for the community. That's what's really involved across these two best practice areas. And I hope you can see here how really we're taking the best practice from retail and applying it in an education setting. Okay, moving on in the agenda, I really want to pass this over to Di Roberts, who's going to walk you through their live story of Brockenhurst College, specifically on prospect personalization. Thank you, Di.
Thank you, Kaylin. And it's great to be here to share our story with the sector. I'm just going to walk you through the background at Brockenhurst College. We have been delivering outstanding education for over 100 years here in the heart of the New Forest in Hampshire, and I've been principal and CEO for 9 years. We're a diverse tertiary college with 3,000 full-time 16 to 18-year students, about 50% A-level, 50% vocational, 1,000 apprentices, a small but growing HE provision, sorry Neil, and about 5,000 part-time learners. We attract learners from a very wide geographical area, and we also have international students studying with us from about 20 countries. We recognise that many colleges are facing similar challenges to us in terms of student recruitment. We have strong ambitions to grow our learner numbers, but as all colleges face considerable issues working against our growth. As I've said, we attract learners from a very wide geographical area. In fact, learners have to go past other schools and other colleges to come to study with us. And our local education environment, along with many colleges, is highly competitive. We have many school sixth forms, and we now have a range of UTCs and free schools that are being set up. Schools are starting AS levels with their 15-year-olds and developing vocational provision without the specialist facilities that we have. In some schools with sixth form, we have very limited or even no access to students at year 10 and year 11. And of course, there's, as Kaylin has said, there's demographic factors that mean there's, in the next few years, there's going to be a continued dip in the number of 16 to 18-year-olds. So as he said, everyone is going to have to work harder to get a slice of this shrinking pie. Funding cuts against 16 to 18 and adult funding also mean that we really have to fight hard to retain our market share. And it's essential that anything that we invest in actually delivers real results and does maximise recruitment. It's vital as well that we take advantage of any potential growth opportunities. For example, in apprentice provision, which all parties are really focused on at the moment and will continue to be key after the general election. So successfully engaging with employers is a key aspect of our marketing strategy as well. We have 2 campus locations in China that allow us to expand revenue and put that back to the learners here. But those markets, again, are more accessible. The world is a smaller, flatter place. And so other institutions are now reaching out into the international market to, as we do, expand their revenue and provide that additional bottom line. So in terms of our solution, you've seen from Kaylin, and it is really incredibly impressive, I'm sure you will agree, the power of prospect personalisation from both the learner and from the leader perspectives. I think for me, the power of digital marketing is specifically around taking the best practice from other sectors and driving that into our college. So we want to give that Amazon type experience when anyone visits our website in order to search for a course, for information or guidance. We want to provide that deeply personalised and integrated way of navigating the many options that learners have. What we want to do is lift them up out of the noise of everything they could do and help them find what they are most interested in and what they are inspired by. And it's that personalised engagement that we really feel will make the difference and gives us a significant edge. If someone makes even the briefest touch on our website, we want to be able to reach out to them and draw them in, and using the channel which our youngest learners are immersed in, digital and mobile. We've chosen to take on this transformation really to take a quantum leap in attracting students, learners and employers. We're well underway now in achieving this vision, and I know it will continue to change over time as the market moves and we, working with Portal, become even smarter. For example, providing an interactive shop window for each department and course, which we will have from September. Portal are a great partner to flex and adapt to our growth, and they have supported us and continue to support us every step of the way. And we predict, and we are, we'll be measuring ourselves against this, that we will achieve a 15% increase in conversion and recruitment, and that really will truly transform the ability of this institute to deliver an exceptional student experience. So I would recommend that if you are an education leader, really do evaluate your approach to student recruitment. Have a look at what you do and then dip your toe in with Portal to really explore the emerging technology expertise. Innovate through challenge and take the chance to deliver an outstanding experience. Thank you, Kaylin.
Thank you so much, Ty, for really providing that rich storyline on the manager's perspective. We do find that University of Winchester and Brockenhurst are the real education pioneers here, and you've heard from their leaders, so I hope you understand why. Okay, what's really critical here for us is that we are delivering a fantastic project at Brockenhurst, and of course you're seeing it there. But it's not the only place that we've had this success. If I did show you a couple of other examples, Harrow College in northwest London with nearly 11,000 students were declining 5% year on year with really stagnant growth because of increasing competition and some of the challenges we mentioned before. They've been using the system for some time, and in their first academic year, 6 months after implementation, they grew 7% on their 16 to 18-year-old provision and 15% on their adult provision overall. Now, you can see here a quote from Judith Abbott, the Director of Finance and Resources, and they're predicting a 20% overall increase across the 3-year partnership that we're currently midway through. In addition, Seton Hall University, a university in the States with 10,000 students, again, using this for just 6 months, the next academic year, they grew by 18.2%, representing an additional 29 million in net present value. The ROIs on this are phenomenal. And the real key takeaway for me is if we continue to do things the way in which we've always done them, we're going to get the same result. And unfortunately, the market's moving too quickly for us that even standing still, we're going to be falling backwards. Whereas this innovative approach, taken, trusted, and tested in the retail sector, now proven in the education sector, is really the best way that we and our clients are finding that we can revolutionize the way in which we increase student recruitment. So let me forward a really quick summary and really provide you with some next steps from here before we move into our Q&A. Exceptional student experience is powered by Portal and is our overarching approach to revolutionizing the learner journey. This has started as part of IBM, and Portal have been an award-winning premier IBM business partner for some time. And in the beginning of this year, I was previously leading the IBM charge with my team. We've been enfranchised to the Portal team to bring vision much closer to delivery, to amplify an even greater amount of business value for our clients. Specifically here, across IBM, we keep the same scale and resources, but because Portal are a smaller company, we've got far greater agility and flexibility to take the mass exceptional student experience solution and divide it into much smaller segments: digital marketing, predictive analytics, and social portal. And of course, we've given a deep dive into digital marketing technologies today. But thinking across the recruitment, retention, and reputation challenges that UK education institutions face, we've created these 9 modules that focus on really specific targeted areas of challenges and opportunities that education leaders face. They're really delivering phenomenal results on the ground. And of course, today we focused on prospect personalization and push communications. But do look out for the other webinars in our series that cover more of these modules. And I'll cover a little bit more on that in just a second. Okay, thinking about next steps. We're going to share this recording with you in the next 2 days. So do look out in your inbox. We'll make sure you have this webinar. You can share it with your team and continue the conversation. Secondly, early next week, we're going to send you the Brockenhurst case study. And this gives a much deeper dive into not only digital marketing, but the other 2 areas that they've invested in: predictive analytics and social portal. So you can really see the full story, an immersive story of the results that they're expecting on the ground. We'll also share this ESE infographic, which is a really light single document that you can share with colleagues to have the conversation around. Do look out for our future webinars. We have Predictive Analytics on the 28th of April, in which we'll be given a very similar format and a live demonstration of how we are able and are currently doing with many institutions in FE and HE, predicting with 90% accuracy which students are going to drop out 6 weeks before it happens. So we can not only ensure we're retaining in those first 42 critical days of initial campus, but we're also amplifying attainment and progression. We're going to show you that on the 28th of April. And again, we'll have some of our clients speak with us there. On the 13th of May, we're going to be taking you through Social Portal, which is our communicative and collaborative tool sets that are completely revolutionizing the way in which education is delivered and the business of education is operated. So do look out for those, and we'll make sure we drop you an invitation to them. We would be delighted to hear from you if you want to take any of the questions forward, or indeed want to contact us around prospect personalization or push communications. Before we move on to our questions, I'd like to say a huge thank you for your time in joining us for this 45-minute webinar. I'd like to thank Neil Marriott and Di Roberts for taking the time to speak and give the industry representation and their stories on how they're seeing the importance of how to increase student recruitment through inquiry right the way through to enrollment. Thank you so much for your time. Let's move in to Q&A. Okay, so keep your questions coming through the panel, and I'll make sure we read them out. So Nicola has asked us, what are the resources required to really make this work? And it's a really critical question, and we tend to get that one all the time. Across prospect personalization, if I cover that one first, we tend to always recommend that you take on one additional headcount. Typically, you won't have the skills within your team that will have the analytical capability, because they tend to reside in MIS, or indeed content creation. If you now have the power to offer personalized content to everyone, of course you need the content to be able to provide it. So typically one additional headcount really allows that on the ground move. The 167.5 hours that we provide will fill that in short term so we can get a fast start and ensure there's effective knowledge transfer to not just the marketing team, but everyone else. But I would definitely keep that in mind. In terms of push communications and the resources, really, there's very little that's required. A facilitator on your side of the fence that's really pulling together the content. And of course, you'll have done that in marketing already for your websites, your prospectus, etc. So it's just a little bit of prioritization to work with us to create the app for you. But no technical skills required. But of course, we'd need some facilitation for the open day itself, which again, you'll already have in place. Thank you for your question, Nicola. Okay, Robert has asked us how many FTEs involved in managing both of these items. I probably just covered that, so hopefully I presented that. One FTE for prospect personalization, and I wouldn't say any for push communications. Nicola has asked again, can you help a college with a small budget? Absolutely. I mentioned before, we recognize that not everyone is swimming in cash right now. Part of the challenge is that across these two items, it doesn't matter if you're big or small. The technology is still going to be there, regardless of the amounts of students that you're really taking through. But we do have really flexible financing arrangements to make sure that you can have this capability now, impact academic year 15, 16 and conversion, but then pay for it thereafter to make sure we can help with cash flow and hopefully keep your finance happy, chappies happy. Okay, one more question from Robert. Sorry, you just left us a comment to say great webinar and looks fantastic. Thank you so much for that. I really hope it's been valuable to you and everyone else. Okay, we have Ashraf, who's asked us what kind of marketing tools are in production to use in the future. What a perfect question in terms of really looking forward. What we've been doing with Brockenhurst College, and Di referred to this very quickly, in terms of this interactive shop window. What if we could extend the website to make sure it has a richer social experience so that me as a prospective student, I'm not just going to get a flat prospectus or flat content, but I can actually get a window into how the organization is happening. An interactive social media space we have developed with Brockenhurst and we'll be launching on our webinar on the 13th. So do look out for that. We are providing interactive instant chat, lesson captures to make sure we can offer welcome addresses from the principal. We're empowering prospects to connect with current students on campus and build their engagement. They're able to build pride in the institution and loyalty from their initial application, keeping them warm right the way through to the point of enrollment and beyond with this interactive and dynamic space. That's really what we're seeing in the future. I think push communications as well, we're going to see a lot more of this. In terms of having those physical beacons around your campus, we're looking at how can we track attendance for classes by just understanding the mobiles that are in the devices of our students on the ground. Again, look out for that on the Predictive Analytics webinar on the 28th of April. Okay, Catherine has asked us, how many FTEs does Brock have in its external relations team? I'll let Di cover that question. Di.
I think in terms of, hi Catherine, in terms of the external relations team, we have a range of teams. So we have a team that looks after our 16 to 18 students, a team who looks after our business development, and of course we have our marketing team. Around 16 to 18, we probably have about 8 FTEs in terms of our business development, about 5 FTEs, and our marketing team is about 6 FTEs. Hope that helps, Catherine.
Thank you so much, Di. A great question there in really making things happen on the ground. One thing I would say, which we found with Di, Brockenhurst, and our other clients, is that this isn't just a marketing activity. The marketing team, of course, are going to use like this as much as they can, but really it's about introducing a culture that are focused on recruitment. So those dashboards are personalized in the live environment that you saw of Brock for each curriculum head, so they can see how the pipeline of students that are coming through and how interactive their content is around their course curriculum on the website. We are empowering leaders to make richer, smarter decisions around where we place resources in the institution. So really, although the marketing team are absolutely going to be driving campaigns, there's value beyond that. And again, training built in to ensure it. That's all the questions that you sent us, but please make sure if you have any others, if you reflect later, you can see our email address on the screen, and of course, connect with us on Twitter. We're going to finish 3 minutes ahead of schedule. Thank you so much for joining us on today's webinar. We really look forward to seeing you in the future and connecting with you to work with you to increase your student recruitment by improving conversion from inquiry to enrollment. Thank you and have a great day.